Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I'm sorry, we were trying to reorient the device we're broadcasting on, but unfortunately it did not let me do that. So we're just going to use this device as it is tonight. Hopefully within the next few days we'll be on the computer. We won't have this problem ever again. But right now we have a lot to talk about. I want to first talk about what happened last night. Yesterday evening, Biden won a huge victory in going after President Trump legally, but it was done illegally. Okay? What happened with President Trump should never have happened. Not now, not ever. This was an illegal action by the Morganton Democrat Communist Court in New York. I'm just going to say that. It was an illegal action. It should never have been allowed to happen. Not now, not ever. With that said, I want to play a video from Fox News from this evening. Actually, it's from earlier this morning, but I just found it this evening. I want to play a video that I found that pretty much describes what I'm talking about. I want to show you this right now.
Who still wears these headphones these days? Try this.
Here, Mike Johnson, who joins us right now with reaction. Mr. Speaker, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
We were just talking about how, ever since the verdict, a lot of money has been coming into the Trump campaign, and I was just reading in Punchbowl that the National Republican Congressional Committee, you guys raised $300,000 last night, which eclipses only the day you were elected Speaker, and you raised $175,000. So obviously, angry voters are motivated voters.
They are, and there's good reason to be motivated, of course. I mean, this entire thing is absurd. I'm a lawyer. I was a litigator for 20 years. I was in court with President Trump a few weeks ago to see this for myself. What happened there was outrageous, and you're right. The American people see it. This is a purely political exercise, not a legal one, and everybody knows that. They know intuitively that it's wrong, and the people are outraged. I'm in one of those swing states today. I'm in Ohio and Michigan today. I'll be in Illinois tomorrow. By the end of this week, I'll have been in 115 cities in 29 states, and I'm telling you guys, something is happening out there. People see what is going on. They see that the Democrats are so desperate because President Trump is crushing Joe Biden in the polls. They see the Democrat Party and the left so desperate to stop him that they'll risk the destruction of our entire legal system to do it. And that is not hyperbole. That's what's going on here. We broke records on our fundraising platforms last night. We're continuing to do that. We even set up a new website. Go to supportdjt.com, because that's how us in Congress, members in Congress, are going to help stand with him and defend this and make sure the right verdict is rendered November 5th. That's the American people's verdict.
So, Mr. Speaker, if I could get you to put your legal hat back on, not as Speaker, but how does this play out? I mean, you got the former president. He's going to appeal this. Do you think that this is going to happen before the election? Most analysts say it's not. Do you think that the Supreme Court has a duty to step in, since this will impact, the election? I know we want to act like he's just a normal guy, but he's a leading presidential candidate. The voters should know what's going to happen here. So what do you see playing out in the legal system?
Well, there's a lot of developments yet to come, but I do believe the Supreme Court should step in. Obviously, this is totally unprecedented, and it's dangerous to our system. I mean, we've all discussed this before, and you all talk about it all the time. This is diminishing the American people's faith in our system of justice itself. And to maintain a republic, you have to have that. People have to believe that justice is fair, that there's equal justice under law. They don't see that right now. And I think that the justices on the court, I know many of them personally, I think they're deeply concerned about that as we are. So I think they'll set this straight, but it's going to take a while. You're right. The process takes a while to play out. The Democrats know that, of course, and they're dragging it out. That was the whole objective. They want to try to bankrupt Donald Trump. They want to diminish his credibility and go after his character. They wanted to keep him off the campaign trail, which they were successful in doing for many weeks. And now that they want to call him the convicted felon. This will be overturned, guys. There's no question about it. It's just going to take some time to do it.
Right. Go ahead.
Thanks, Brian. In the meantime, the sentencing date is July 11th. That's after the first debate. So the two candidates will debate. Then there's going to be the sentencing date. How's that going to affect the RNC? What if he has home confinement? He can't go? Does the convention still happen? Does he zoom in on the screen? How does he campaign? If he goes to prison, what does that look like? Will he be in prison with Secret Service on Election Day?
We're in uncharted waters, right? Obviously, there's no prohibition against him being elected president, even if he's confined somewhere. But I certainly hope that doesn't happen. There's lots of discussion. We talked about it all last night. There'll be more discussion today about how we might adjust things in the schedule and all of that. But I'm going to tell you what will happen. I predict this will increase turnout on our side. He will win decisively. He will become the next president. He was already, as I said, crushing Joe Biden in the polls. I think as this plays out and people get more and more frustrated about it, I think it will help us, and that huge enthusiasm gap that already existed between the Trump and Biden campaigns will be even wider. People now see Donald Trump as a symbol of something. He's more than just an individual. He's a symbol of fighting back against this government corruption, the deep state, the bureaucracy, and all the rest. And we need his leadership in the White House now more than ever.
I mean, just seeing for the last 5-6 weeks, everything just stopped. Everyone's watching. It becomes the #1 story in big and small towns across the country. You wonder, the other 3 cases, the other 3 indictments, will they see the light of day? No one can say for sure, but we expect at any time the Supreme Court to rule on immunity. You have such a rich legal background. What should we all be looking for there? I know what you're hoping for. What are some of the rulings they could have?
Well, look, I do believe that the court needs to address that clearly. We have to set a standard here. There's a really important principle of immunity for a commander-in-chief. I mean, that's always been part of our legal tradition, and it makes good sense. You can't have somebody sitting in the Oval Office worried about some rogue prosecutor somewhere, some Soros-funded DA or some lawyer that's going to come after them for their decisions. And so that principle needs to be made concrete and needs to be expanded. I think this court will do the right thing because they see the abuse of the system right now. And that's the greatest peril here of all at the end of the day. This transcends even Donald Trump. It's about whether or not the people believe our institutions, our system of justice. There's nothing larger than that in our system.
Right. And we were talking to Mark Penn, the very famous pollster, a little while ago, Mr. Speaker, about how this is going to boomerang on the Democrats. But nonetheless, even though it looks like it's going to boomerang and come back to haunt them, every day, every minute they can, the campaign is going to refer to him as Donald Trump, convicted felon, right up until it's overturned on appeal. If it is.
Yeah, and they'll still say that after the appeal, I'm sure. That's what was the whole objective of this thing. But I'm telling you that the people see right through it. I've been all across the country, north, south, east, west. Doesn't matter whether I'm in a blue state or a red state. People are disgusted by this. They see exactly what's happening. Old charges, a tainted judge. I mean, think of it. In the last couple of weeks, they've been apoplectic. They want Justice Alito to be recused from, future cases and proceedings because his wife flew a flag at their house. This judge on this case in Manhattan was an open Biden supporter, an open, activist, a political activist, and no one cared about that. So the double standard is clear. Everybody sees it.
I was watching Alina last night, one of the attorneys for Donald Trump, and she said when the verdict was read, he had to put his hand over his mouth, and she said she suspects it's to hide a smile. What's your reaction?
I wouldn't doubt it. I told you I was there on the ground. I saw that banana republic trial going on. These are the things that you expect in third world countries, not in the United States. That should never have happened. That judge should never have presided.
So Andrew Weissman, who ran the Mueller probe,
Okay, I'm going to end it right there. They're just rehashing over and over what happened yesterday afternoon in New York City. We know many facts in this case. Number one, the fact is that Leonard Cohen, who was or used to be a lawyer for Donald Trump, lied on the stand. He also falsified documents. He also owes Donald Trump a lot of money, and he's a convicted felon. Everybody knows that. Judge Mershon, during the trial, when the defense brought out the fact that Mr. Cohen was a liar and a felon, oh, jury, you're not supposed to hear that. You're not supposed to hear it. It was constant by Mershon, trying to hide information from the defense. The defense would present information and Judge Mershon would say, oh, you can't hear that. You must disregard that. I don't remember how many times I heard Judge Mershon say disregard that. You never heard that. It doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter. Judge Mershon is also, as Speaker Johnson said, is a Trump supporter. His own daughter is a fundraiser for the Democrat Party. Judge Mershon is also donated to Biden's campaign, but in doing so, he violated donation laws. The judge donated money, large sums of money, and donated via the election laws for donating too much money. So the judge is guilty of crimes as well. The whole prosecution was a joke. Number one, Alvin Bragg, the state attorney general in New York. He also has charges up against him right now. Alvin Bragg. The only reason Alvin Bragg was elected because he went and said that he was going to go after President Trump. He did it. What people don't even realize is that Alvin Bragg is paid off by George Soros. George Soros helped get Alvin Bragg and dozens of other prosecutors around the United States elected. George Soros and the Tides Foundation. If you don't know what the Tides Foundation, look it up on the internet. But George Soros and the Tides Foundation, and George Soros is part of the Tides Foundation, which is a fundraising element of the Democrat Communist Party here in the United States. George Soros donated money to the campaigns of at least 12 to 15 attorneys generals in the United States to get them elected. One of the attorney generals was in Georgia. He was in Georgia. Everywhere that is trying to prosecute President Trump, the attorney general was supported by George Soros illegally. Okay? It's not supposed to be done, but it was. The problem is, are we going to allow it to happen again? Are we, the citizens of the United States, going to allow it to happen again? The answer to that question should be no. We are not going to allow it to happen again. It should have happened, and yet they allowed it. It can never be allowed to happen again. Now, what else is going to happen? What else is going to happen? The DIP consultant, we cannot allow that type of language to be put in the chat. Even though I don't like George Soros, you can't put that information in the chat, and as a result, it was removed. So please don't do it again. Okay? Please do not do it again. Now, what else is going to happen? Folks, the Judge Mershon is going to call President Trump back into court on July 11th for the arraignment. Just prior to that, President Trump and Biden will go head-to-head in a debate, and I'm sure this is going to come forward. The Biden administration does not like President Trump. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's just the facts. Biden went after President Trump. The Biden administration has been visited many times by these attorney generals. The Biden administration has been on top of this whole political prosecution the entire time. It's unreal. It's unreal. This is purely political. It has nothing to do with law. It has nothing to do with justice. Okay? There are already protests going on all around the world in regards to this very case. Not just here in this country, but around the world. I've seen some of them already today. There's going to be more protests. As we get closer and closer to the time when July 11th arrives, we're going to see possibly civil war. Because I do not think that the people of the United States are going to put up with Joe Biden. I don't think it's going to happen. I hear a lot of things. I don't necessarily agree with everything I hear. But the story is this. Trump has been indicted on 34 charges. All of them, this is not a pun, but they've been trumped up. They are all lies. Every one of the charges is a lie. Okay? It had nothing to do with President Trump himself. Attorney Cohen lied on the stand. Stormy Daniels owes President Trump $600,000 that she's probably not going to pay. Mr. Cohen owes President Trump money. And not just that, Mr. Cohen is making money from Go Get Trump t-shirts and other memorabilia. Mr. Cohen is selling product in his Go Get Trump. Okay? It's all joke. Mr. Cohen should not have been allowed on the stand. He himself should be prosecuted for what he did. Okay? I'm just going to say it outright. He should be prosecuted for what he said and what he did. Ray Spur says he can't listen to this. I'm sorry, Ray. I put it out because a lot of people were questioning what was going on. Some people never even heard about it. I want to make sure the story gets out. Richard Smith said, should I chat driving? No, please don't do that, Richard. I don't want you, one, to get a ticket or whatever the penalty is for that here or over in Canada. I don't want you to be arrested or lose your car or get a ticket for it. Please go ahead and drive, and when you get to a safe spot, you can pull off the road and continue to chat in the chat room. Now, all I'm going to say, I am telling you what I believe in. Okay? I am a conservative. If you guys hadn't figured it out, I'm a conservative. I've always been a conservative. Okay? I've never voted for a Democrat. Never. Never. Not going to happen. I've been a conservative all my life. It's not my parents that made me conservative. This was a decision that I made on my own. This was a decision that I have done. I've analyzed everything. Now, I do not, and I want to make this very clear, I don't make decisions like this for nothing. I have analyzed all the facts for many years. Yes, I have voted sometimes for the other party. I have voted for people in the other party when there was no better person to vote for. Okay? But in this case, I could not vote for Biden if he wore a Santa Claus suit. I could not do it. Mr. Biden is a jerk. Mr. Biden is inept. Mr. Biden is too old to be a president. He can't even make decisions on his own. He has dementia. He has Alzheimer's. The only reason President Biden is able to talk is they load him up with drugs, so he's fairly stable for a known period of time. As soon as he becomes unstable, he either is told to walk away, in which he walks the opposite direction from which he should be going. He's disoriented, and it's not just his speeches. He's been known to walk through the rose garden of the White House, right through the middle of the rose garden. He's gone and walked into trees outside the Oval Office. He's had to be guided by Secret Service to get him back to the Oval Office. We have never had a president in our history of our country that can't find his way down a sidewalk. Never. Never happened. Now, Silly Goose says, I'm cool as a cucumber. I pretty much am. Okay? Yesterday I was upset by the verdict. But I also know this. President Trump is going to appeal it. Judge Mershon is going to be taken to task. I believe Judge Mershon will have a legal case against him, and he may go to jail over it. The prosecutor, and I'm talking about Jack Smith, I am talking about Alvin Bragg, I am talking about the dipstick over in Georgia. They all belong in jail. They all belong before a jury. I don't believe Alvin Bragg could get a fair jury, though, because all it would be is Democrat communists that would bring him up on charges and reduce those charges to nothing. That's what Democrat communists do. Do I believe in any of this garbage? No, I don't. Now, the Fox News crew and Mr. Johnson talked about Judge Alito. They went after Judge Alito's wife and Judge Alito because Judge Alito's wife put a flag outside their house. They don't like anyone who flies a flag, especially a conservative. They go after everybody. It doesn't matter whether they're black, brown, green, or blue. They go after everybody. If they don't like their politics, they go after everybody. These Democrats don't have a damn clue. Period. They're dead brain cells, in my opinion. Dead cotton-picking brain cells. Hurricane Heather just joined our membership team. Welcome to EMA Chat 1. EMA Chat 1. Our membership program I put here very simple. Just to let you know what I did. I talked about it briefly last night. Next week, one day next week, it's probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday next week, we're going to have a members only meeting. We're going to have a members only meeting every week, at least once a week. This coming week, we're going to be talking about members emojis. Members emojis. And anything else that anybody wants to talk about. Why am I doing this? It's not just for money. Yes, we need money to help support this program. We definitely do. We have not been getting enough super chats to keep this program on the air. We have not been getting PayPal donations enough to keep this program on the air. Yes, we've had some PayPal donations, and I appreciate that ever so much. One of our members, Heidi Petrick, not only is a member now on EMA, but she donated $10 to our PayPal account. That's wonderful. We've had several others. Donna Howard and her husband Gregory donated to our PayPal last week, and we definitely appreciate it. Folks, if you want us to stay on the air, you need to help us be here. I love each and every one of you. You guys are not just EMA family. You are my friends. Richard Smith says, I'm going to try to get membership. Renee is asking, how do I become a member? Over on your EMA page on YouTube, it said there's a little button that says join. You can click on that button and it will explain how you join. We have 3 membership ideals. The first one is $1.99. The second one is $2.99. The third one is $3.99. And I appreciate each and every one of you that help us with our membership. I really appreciate it. I want to stay on the air. I want to do whatever I can to stay on the air. But we need everybody's help in doing so. I need everybody's help to stay on the air. I appreciate all of our mods taking these trolls off our program. I am deleting them off our program with every breath of my body. I am deleting them off our program continually. You guys hide them off the chat and I take them down. I refuse to have these people here. Okay? Yeah, they harass me, they harass you, they harass everybody. I believe that some of these people are from another channel here on YouTube. I have noticed NCWQ Explorer says they need to be reported. Yes, I'm reporting them and removing them from our channel. Every day. Every time they do it here. I am not going to put up with it. Not now, not ever. I want to make sure that who we are stands out. The people from the other channel that I'm referring to don't like me, and I don't really give a darn. I don't give a darn. That other channel creator also doesn't like me, and I don't give a darn about that either. Every time I go on the air, he also goes on the air. He is the very reason that I started this channel. He doesn't go on the air on YouTube any longer. Last weekend, he left YouTube for the 3rd time. He left YouTube for the 3rd time. Just over 5 years ago, I came on the air because he said he was leaving YouTube and he left YouTube. Since then, he's been back on YouTube twice, and now he's left a 3rd time. Right after he said he's leaving, and he deleted all of his programs that he had put up, he came back and left a message for everybody in his chat. All of his Dutchlings He left them a message to go buy his merch. The only reason has been here on YouTube is to make money. He stopped talking about earthquakes. He stopped talking about those things that are important. He started talking about weather, but so what? I did too. But there is a reason that I talk about weather and other disasters. Because I want to make sure you are prepared. I want to make sure that those people that are involved in disasters have aid. Yes, we do have people that monitor this channel that have sent people in Papua New Guinea money. Why? Because during the past 3 weeks, they've had storm after storm that has inundated Papua New Guinea. But it's not just the storms that have caused avalanches from running water that have tipped over homes in Papua New Guinea, but also not tipped over homes, but the landslides buried homes, killed citizens in Papua New Guinea. There are people that watch this program that have helped donate money and goods to Papua New Guinea, and I appreciate that. We spoke once about that this past week. Now, yes, we talk about weather. We talk about tropical cyclones like those that hit Papua New Guinea and Australia, Guam, Japan, and Taiwan, and other countries around the world. We talk about fires. We talk about tornadoes. We talk about rain and floods and the winter storms. And we talk about shootings and fires, explosions. We want people to be able to understand what's happening in their communities. This is not just an earthquake channel, this is a preparedness channel. This is a preparedness channel. I want everybody to be prepared. I want everybody to understand what's going on around the world. It's very apparent to me what's going on. Now, I'm sorry, Renee, if you have problems joining our membership, I will help you after this program is over. And I'm sorry some of you might be having problems. Again, you go to our main EMA page and you scroll through that page until you see a join button. You click on that join button and YouTube explains how you can join the EMA membership. And we appreciate what you do. Okay? We appreciate all that you do. We appreciate all of your support. We appreciate the love that you give us. We appreciate the donations that you send us to help us stay on the program. My wife and I were discussing our new mailbox that we've had just about a month or so now. We've had 2 letters or cards come through that mailbox in a month and a half. Just 2. When we have had our post office box, we were getting 2 or 3 letters or cards every day. That hasn't happened as of recently. Even with our last post office box, right before we changed to the new one, we were not even getting 1 letter a week, or 1 card a week, 1 donation a week. Yes, we got cards and letters without donations, and that's fine. That's wonderful. But we have not been getting that as of late. And if things continue to go this way, we are going to stop the post office box when it runs out in about 4 or 5 months. I love you guys. NCWQ also has a channel here on YouTube that we greatly respect, and you also need to go to her channel and show her some love, please. She says she hadn't seen a card in 5 years. 5 years. That's pretty bad. It costs money to stay on this channel. I first started on this channel just over 5 years ago, like I said. I didn't understand then that it takes money to stay on the air. It truly does, though. It truly does. I didn't understand that when I first came on the air. I actually was doing it out of the goodness of my heart and was actually going under. I could not even pay all of my bills. Now at least I have a little tiny bit of money. I'm paying my bills, but just barely. Just barely. I have got the highest Wi-Fi signal that I've ever had. It costs money. It costs money to stay on the air. Folks, I'm not one to beg for money. And I don't like doing it. But I'm asking for your support, and I'm asking for your help to stay on the air. Okay? I truly am. I appreciate everyone that helps us. Christine has also achieved membership on the Emergency Management Associates membership. We appreciate that. She's EMA 1. Thank you so much, Christine. We appreciate it. I appreciate all of our mods that have also come here and joined our channel membership. I appreciate all of you. Sleeping Volcano is asking where is the join button. If you scroll down our main page, it'll show you a join button. Click on that join button and YouTube will explain how you join the channel, join the membership. Okay? We appreciate when you do that. Like I said, it keeps us on the air. Your super chats and your memberships help keep us on the air. And yes, I will keep giving you recognition when you join our channel and when you give us super chats. I will give you recognitions when we receive PayPal or Cash App donations, or when we get donations in the mail. I will give you recognition. Sleeping Volcano says, well, I do exit, I don't see the join button. In some cases, the join button is a green button. Let me just see, just really quickly, over here on my page here, and see if the join button is here. No, I don't see it on my chat. Let me leave my chat here and go to my main page. Well, it's not showing me, maybe because I'm the head of the organization. But that might just be me. Everywhere I have been on a YouTube channel that has membership, including Mark Wages. If you're not already watching Mark Wages and subscribing to his channel, go over to Mark Wages' channel, Wages World, and give him some love. He talked about, last night, he was on the air talking about a sunspot that has re-erupted. Okay? We talked about an X-class flare. Actually, we talked about 11 X-class flares that have erupted on the sun a week and a half ago. Well, guess what? that X class, or that sunspot 3664 has re-erupted. It has re-erupted. It's gone around the backside of the sun and come back to haunt us. Okay, this is what it did. Okay, I'm showing you this right now. This is what it did. It's on the east limb of the sun now. Now, what you're seeing here, and I'm going to point it out so you understand it. You see one X class 2.4, X class 2.9 flare from yesterday. There was actually two flares. This one and this one here. These erupted out on the east limb of the sun. This appears to be on the other side of the sun right before it crosses over to our side of the sun. This is a very dangerous solar flare. Again, it's sunspot 3664. It erupted here, and it also erupted here. The day before yesterday, we had another sunspot that was right here. Literally right here. Now it's moved over to here. This sunspot right here erupted to an X class 12.4. The sunspot here the other day on the 27th, or was it the 24th? I think it was the 24th. This sunspot erupted to an X class 12. X class 12, this one right here. And as you can see, they're still erupting. These two sunspots have joined together, but they are still erupting now. But this sunspot that erupted yesterday was two different flares. Scientists are now looking at both these flares, trying to decide whether these will be a glancing blow to the Earth, or whether they have already hit the Earth in a glancing blow. Or have they gone out into space by themselves? Now, if you go over to Mark Wage's channel, he will show you two different explanations. One, where the sunspot, the solar flare itself, erupted and missed the Earth completely. The second one is a NASA explanation. The NASA explanation has them hitting Earth with a glancing blow. The NOAA explanation has them going off into space, not being hitting the Earth at all. But NASA has these flares hitting Earth with a glancing blow. I still believe that this is not definitively known whether it's hit the Earth or not, or whether it's going to hit the Earth. Okay? Richard Smith says that is a crazy looking sunspot. Yes, it's a very dangerous looking sunspot. Look at all this plasma radiation radiating out from the sun. Look at all this plasma radiation leaking out from the sun, ejecting out from the sun. This is a very dangerous solar flare. It's a very dangerous solar flare. And I wanted to show it to you so you'd understand exactly what's going on. Okay? Does anybody have any questions with me showing you this? Do you have any questions about the solar flare at all? Marla Kaplan Wing says solar flares are very dangerous. Yes, they are. Bill is asking, is this EMP possible? Not right now. Not right now. But quite honestly, this last solar flare that was a X-class 12.4 could have been. Could have been. But the majority of that radiation was right here on the outside of the sun right here. It wasn't completely Earth-facing. If that had been Earth-facing right over here, right in the middle of the sun, it would have been a completely different story. It could have been an EMP kind of flare. Bill says, good, we were lucky. 90% lucky. Okay? 90% lucky. Marla's asking, when will it hit the Earth? It may have already hit the Earth. It was a very dangerous X-class flare. It may have already hit the Earth. Now, because it was on the side of the sun like this, on what they call the terminator, this edge of the sun here is what they call the terminator. On either end of the sun, the north, south, east, or west, the edge of the sun is called a terminator. Okay? This edge of the sun is called a terminator. Why? Because it is the edge. If a solar flare is launched from this area, it may or may not hit the Earth. But it's a possibility that it could. Like I said, there's two explanations right now for this flare. The NOAA explanation shows that it was a glancing blow to the Earth. The NASA explanation says that it did not hit the Earth at all. Okay, that's what happened. That's what's going on. I wanted to show it to you because it's still up in the air what's happening. Christopher Michael said the Earth is flat. I call baloney. I call baloney. I have been up at 35,000 feet above the surface. I have seen the curvature of the Earth. People that argue that the Earth is flat have no clue. They have not studied it. Marla is asking, is NASA right? We don't know. We don't know. What we have seen, though, is that all the data that has come in so far has shown that even if it hit the Earth, it was just a glancing blow, meaning that it won't give much of any aurora borealis. The radioactive magnetic radiation coming from the sun that causes aurora borealis, or what might be determined as geomagnetic force from the sun, causing a geomagnetic radio blackout, it was not much of a blackout because it was on the far terminator here of the sun. Like I said, if it was over on an Earth-facing part of the sun, it might have been completely different. Okay? Bill says the last one's only off at a 45-degree angle. Pretty much. That is the same thing that I'm saying here. This is off at a 45-degree angle, shooting out into space for the most part. Okay? Monier's Ras says the real problem is that the solar flare, like a Carrington event of an X40 and even an X30, lasts over weeks duration. Pretty much. Pretty much. Now, I don't think, and it's possible I could be completely wrong, but I do not think that we are going to have a Carrington event for a while. It's
The
very
European
possible.
Space Agency was created as a merger of the European Launcher
Sorry about
Development
that, guys.
Organization, or ELDO, and the European Space Research Organization, ESRO. Both ELD...
Sorry about that. That was another video program I was watching earlier about the European Space Agency. I studied the Carrington event. I've studied the sun for a long time. One of the things I took in college, well, let me preface this. In order to get my degree in geology, I had to study astronomy. I had to study the sun and the planetary movements. It was incredible what I did, what I had to do. I did it for a reason. I wanted to be able to explain what's going on. Marla Kaplan Wing is asking, is it hurting the sun? No, it's not. I don't think any of this is hurting the sun at all. Okay? I don't believe it's hurting the sun at all. Winston is saying CGI is incredible these days. I completely agree. It really is. Ken is saying signs in the heavens. Yes, we have signs in the heavens as well. But folks, we have to keep our minds open. We have to really look at the big problem, the big picture. I shouldn't say the big problem. We have to look at the big picture and truly understand what's going on around us. It's not hard to see what's happening, but sometimes it is hard to put everything together so we understand it. Okay? Just a second. Just a second, I'm looking at some things, guys, sorry. All right. You guys, our mods are doing a great job here, I'm sorry. I truly trust our mods and everybody that's here. You guys mean the world to me. Anyway, getting back to what we've been talking about. In order to get my degree, I had to study astronomy. I had to study the planets. I had to study the sun. I had to take 2 semesters of astronomy. Actually, I think it was probably 3 semesters of astronomy. Carr says, I thought it was the mods taking them down. Yes, the mods take them down, and I remove them completely from the channel in some cases. Anyway, guys, we're doing our best here. NCWQ and the mods do a great work here. NCWQ says Ron gets busy making sure they don't come back. Yes, I do. Anyway, I study the sun. I've gotten pretty good. But science has changed. Science almost has completely changed since I was in college. I have had to stay up with the latest information. I have completely had to immerse myself in the latest science in order to bring you these programs. Renee Steffi just gave us another $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Renee. God bless you for that. I really mean that. That means the world to me. Anyway, guys, we do our best with what we have. I study science and geology even more every day. This job keeps me on my toes in order just not to present the information, but to answer your questions. I have to be able to understand and answer your questions truthfully. And that's a great job. And I take it very seriously. Back in college, when our professor was asking questions and we were asking questions of him, he would go back to the class and ask us for the answers. And if we didn't have the answers, he would explain things again and ask us if we had any further questions. That's how we worked. And that's how I'm still working. I work my best to answer the question and then ask myself the question again did it happen this way or it was another way. That way I can go back and look at it from different angles and give you my best guesstimate about what happened. Yes, I am a citizen scientist. I labor to give you the best information on a daily basis. That's what I work at. That's what I'm good at. Now, I want to talk about earthquakes really quick that have happened already today. Early this morning, there was an earthquake down in the South Pacific. I've highlighted this in blue right here. Okay? I've highlighted in blue right there. This was a 6.4 very strong earthquake. USGS brought it down to a 5.9, 6.0, 6.1, and they settled it at a 6.2 very strong earthquake. A 6.2 very strong earthquake. Munir's Wrath just gave us another $10 super chat. He says, I'm going to do something that I've never done before, and I'm going to donate ever to any channel. Thank you, Munir's Wrath. I appreciate that. Charles Helm just gave us another $20 super chat. You guys, I have just given you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I love you guys immensely. You guys have always helped me keep this channel in the air, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. God bless you. Anyway, this is now a 6.2 magnitude earthquake. It's in the Kermadec Islands. Now, I'm going to enlarge this map so you can see where the Kermadec Islands is. Up here, to the north, on the same earthquake fault, we have a 4.6 here in Tonga. 89 kilometers east-northeast of Hi'i-Tonga. Okay? Hi'i-Tonga is an island here. Right here, where you see my cursor. This is Hi'i-Tonga. This earthquake is allegedly 89 kilometers east-northeast of Hi'i-Tonga. This huge earthquake fault here is the Tonga Trench. The Tonga Trench runs from up in Tonga and it comes down here into the Kermadec Islands. It comes south to the Kermadec Islands. Okay? Again, we had a 6.2 at least. I believe it's probably still 6.4 earthquake. I haven't quite came up with my own determination of how strong that earthquake is, but I will try to get that to you within the next 24 hours. It came out as a 6.4, they downgraded to a 5.9, and then back up to 6.2. Since then, we've had numerous earthquakes, not just these two earthquakes as USGS is showing. This earthquake aftershock was a 5.1. This earthquake here is a 5.2. Both of these are aftershocks. There are dozens of aftershocks, not just two. These are 5.0 and 5.1 aftershocks, large earthquakes. This earthquake here probably was a lot stronger than a 6.2 or even a 6.4. 5 years ago, folks, we had 7.4 and 7.6 earthquakes hitting in the same area right here. Many times during the day. 7.2, 7.6, 7.4, 7.0. This went on for an entire week. Major earthquakes happening here for an entire week. That's why I believe this may have been larger than a 6.2. I'm still researching that. Okay? So those were the largest, that was the largest earthquake today. This earthquake here is in the Loyalty Islands. This also came out as a 5.3. They reduced this to a 5.0. This was 10 kilometers deep. 10 kilometers deep, which means it may or may not have really been 10 kilometers deep or 6.2 miles deep. It may have been deeper than that. USGS puts 10 kilometers up there just because. Just because. Whether it is really 10 kilometers or not is up for grabs. USGS says they put 10 kilometers up if they think it's 10 kilometers. But they also throw it up as 10 kilometers whether it really is or not. Okay? Isn't that interesting? How they say if they don't know, they just automatically put up 10 kilometers. Fascinating. This 5.2 is 35 kilometers deep. This 5.1 is 32 kilometers deep. This 6.2 is 19.6 kilometers deep. These are all shallow earthquakes. Shallow earthquakes. Now I'm going to back it off. Remember last week when we had some 4.5 and 4.7 earthquakes here in the south of Tonga? This is a 4.4 earthquake here from near Houma, Tonga. Houma, Tonga. 267 kilometers from Houma, Tonga. This is 336 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake, because we've seen earthquakes deep here up to 662 kilometers deep. That is a deep earthquake. Last week we had 4.5 and 4.7 earthquakes over here in the south of Tonga. Those were very deep earthquakes. 557 kilometers deep, 599 kilometers deep, and 640 kilometers deep, if I remember right. Those are deep earthquakes. We told you then that those deep earthquakes were going to propagate stronger, shallow earthquakes. That's why I believe these earthquakes here happened. That's a shallow earthquake. The 6.2, if it stands, is a shallow earthquake. This one over here in Loyalty Islands is also a shallow earthquake. We told you when those earthquakes happen in the south of the Philippines that they could come over here and be stronger earthquakes over here in the Solomon Islands. That's a little west of the Solomon Islands there. This is Papua New Guinea. This is a 5.0 earthquake, also 124 kilometers deep. 124 kilometers deep, still a shallow earthquake. Yes, it could have come over here as a shallow earthquake. Okay? All the earthquakes that are large or very strong here are products of those moderate, deep earthquakes. Okay? Those propagated stronger, more shallow earthquakes. That's what we have here. I wanted to make sure that I was going to explain this to you so you understood what is happening. I think it's very important that everybody understands what's going on. Ray Spur says, yeah, the Tonga Hapai volcano was only a hiccup. Yes, I believe it was a hiccup, Ray. The Tonga Hapai volcano was right over here, where you see my cursor. Now, let me go in here, enlarge this so we might be able to see where the Hapai volcano is, or where it was anyway. I'm not sure whether I can even get close enough here. Is one of the Tongan islands here, and it literally blew the island in half. It literally blew the island in half. No, it's not there.
Location, Nias region, Indonesia, class light. Magnitude 4.0, 5 minutes ago.
I'm just looking through around Tonga and see if we can see this on the satellite image, and I don't think we can. It literally, like I said, it literally blew the island in two pieces. Over here to the east, we have the Samoan Islands. Okay, this is what it would look like right there. Similar to this, but it actually blew the entire island in half. Completely. This whole part of the middle is gone. Okay? The middle of the islands was gone. The Hunga-Tonga-Hapai volcano was right here in the middle, and it literally blew this completely to pieces. It was the strongest volcanic eruption that we have ever seen. The strongest volcanic eruption that the world has ever seen. Okay? But these very strong earthquakes today and large earthquakes today are a result of the moderate, deep earthquakes we had last week. And I explained that was going to happen last week. Right here in Gorontalo, Indonesia, we have a 4.3 earthquake. Folks, that is a farce. That is a farce. Okay? There are 24 earthquakes around this area. 24 earthquakes here in Indonesia. Today. As I have explained, this whole area, this entire area to include New Zealand, Australia, and all of Indonesia, including over here into Burma, which is now called Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam area. This is all huge 7 tectonic plate area, the largest subduction zone in the world. As I have explained before, there are 7 tectonic plates in this whole area. 7 tectonic plates that are subducting one under the other. That's why we're having the issues we're having. Now, again, subduction is when one plate goes underneath another. And that's what's happening over in this area, the southwestern Pacific. One tectonic plate is subducting under the other. That's why we're having so many earthquakes. Now, let me show you an image from my earthquake app, what happened today in Indonesia. Okay, this is what really happened. First off, I want to show you this because this happened over here in New Zealand. Look at all these earthquakes in New Zealand. Okay? USGS is not showing one of them. One of these earthquakes right here between the two islands and what they call the Cook Strait here. One of these earthquakes in the Cook Strait here is a 4.5 earthquake, a moderate earthquake. The rest of these are all 3.2, 3.4, 3.5, and some 2.7, 2.5, both on the south, down here, and on the North Island here. Okay? The South Island and the North Island of New Zealand. Okay? A 4.5 over there in the Cook Strait today. That's typical. They have 4.2s there all the time. A 4.5 is not unusual. But you need to know something else. You need to know something else. Right here. Okay? I want to show you this. This is important. Over here on the eastern side of the North Island. Folks, this is also subduction zone. Right here. Scientists have said within the next 50 years, there's going to be another 8.0 earthquake here. A very strong 8.0 earthquake here. The last one was several hundred years ago. Several hundred years ago. They say it's going to happen again. We continue to see earthquakes just like this every day. It's very likely it's going to happen again, regardless of whether USGS shows it or not. That's why I show it. IZB says 8 sounds high. How about this, guys? This is 23 earthquakes together on the North and South Island of New Zealand. In Indonesia alone, there's 24 earthquakes. That means 50 earthquakes already in New Zealand and Indonesia. That's not including all of those aftershocks that have already hit over here in the Kermadec Islands. All these aftershocks that have hit here in the Kermadec Islands here. USGS is not showing those, are they? Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. Look at all these earthquakes here in Indonesia. Then I scrunch it down a little bit so you can see everything. Okay? 24 earthquakes in the Indonesia area, and USGS shows us one. There are that many, 23 over in New Zealand. USGS shows us none. 50 earthquakes between those two nations, and USGS shows us one. Fascinating. Fascinating. Look, let's look over here in the Philippines. Okay? What is USGS showing us here? USGS is showing us one earthquake. One earthquake. They're showing us one earthquake up here just north of Luzon, Philippines. This is a 4.94, 5.0 earthquake right there. That's the only one that USGS is showing. Today, over here in the Philippines, that was a large earthquake. Today in the Philippines, there's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 earthquakes in the Philippines. USGS shows us one. Taiwan got hit with another large earthquake today. 6 miles north-northwest of Hualien City. This is a 5.2 earthquake. I'm sorry. That's a picture of my wife. Come back here. Hualien City, Taiwan. A 5.2 earthquake. Yes, USGS is showing this earthquake. Fascinating. They're showing the earthquake. How about that? They're doing just a tiny bit of their job. Southern Japan. Uwajima, Japan. We're seeing a 4.5 earthquake there. Uwajima, Japan, a 4.5. Yes, they're showing us that earthquake too. They're showing us that. But they're not showing the earthquake just north of Hokkaido. Hokkaido, Japan, we're having a 3.5 earthquake right there. Okay? Fascinating. We also had an earthquake over in the Volcano Islands today. This was a 4.8 that first came out as a 5.0. There's a 4.8 over here in the Volcanic Islands, south of Japan. Fascinating. At least they're telling us about that earthquake. Okay? Kamchatka Peninsula. Kamchatka Peninsula. The southern part of the Kamchatka Peninsula, there is a 4.1 earthquake there. That earthquake is going to go north and then it's going to go east through the Aleutian Island Fault. Through the Aleutian Island Fault. There are several earthquakes here in the Aleutian Islands. They're just minor tremors and minor earthquakes. Okay? Minor tremors, minor earthquakes. 0.75 tremor over here at Acta, Alaska. Okay? Then we go east. Okay? The southern part of the Alaska Peninsula. King Cove, Alaska. A 1.30 tremor. 1.30 tremor right next to 1.9. There's actually 3 other earthquakes here, 1.9, 2.0, and a 1.7. 2.0, 1.9, 1.7. To the east of there, Chignik Lake, Alaska, a 3.2. All that energy that we've had coming up from Indonesia into Taiwan and Japan and up to Kamchatka Peninsula has had very little to do so far with what's gone on in the Aleutian Islands. But all that energy is tight knit, ready to explode over in the Alaska Sea up there. Okay? Just to the south of Alaska there. It's all knotted up there. It's all knotted up right here. Okay? It's ready to blow. Some of that energy has gone up here, right up here, through the Cook Inlet here. The Cook Inlet comes out of the North Pacific and goes up here towards and past Anchorage. Okay? It's gone up here. It's also gone up here. Okay? We have talked about Denali National Park. Right here, we do have another earthquake over here at McKinley. This is a 2.1 earthquake at McKinley. USGS has misidentified it as being north of Petersville, Alaska. 30 miles north of Petersville, Alaska. It's a 2.1 earthquake at Mount McKinley in Denali National Park. Again, USGS cannot even tell us the truth about where an earthquake is. It can't tell us the truth. Munir's Rathis says it's like a highway accident waiting to happen. You're absolutely right. That energy is all knotted up there in the Gulf of Alaska. It's getting ready to pop. It's getting ready to come to pieces. We've been watching it. It's a matter of time until it explodes. And we have another major earthquake over there in Alaska. Now, we have not had any other earthquakes here, up here in the Arctic here, in the Arctic Circle here. This is the Arctic Circle. We've not had any earthquakes up here. Okay. However, we have had 2 earthquakes in the North Canadian Yukon. This is Elsa, Yukon Territory. This is a 4.0 earthquake here. Early last night, they also had a 4.7 earthquake up here. USGS and this agency, European agency, has taken it down. We had 2 4s up here in the northern Yukon territories. One's been taken down here. Okay? Now, again, up here in the Yukon territories, this is the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains here in Canada and Alaska here, right here at the border of Alaska, this energy is the Rocky Mountains, and it comes back down here in the United States. Back down here in the mainland United States. Yes, we do have earthquakes in the northern Rocky Mountains, happening all over the place. Now, we've also had some earthquakes in the Cascadia subduction zone today. This is over at Queen Charlotte, Alaska. This is a 1.51 tremor here. Queen Charlotte, Alaska. Or Queen Charlotte, British Columbia, I'm sorry. You Canadians, I'm sorry, it's British Columbia, Canada. Queen Charlotte Island, British Columbia, Canada. Just south of there. This is near Dajing Guilds, British Columbia, Canada, also over here at Queen Charlotte Island. This is a 2.45 earthquake. Okay? Southwest of there, This is on the west side of the Juan de Fuca Fault. This is a 3.3 earthquake. The Juan de Fuca Fault is right here. This is the Juan de Fuca Fault here. Just so you know. Vancouver Island is right here. We have had 2 earthquakes over here. One near Port Hardy right there. The one near Port Hardy, they have now taken down. The one that was just off the coast of Port Hardy, Vancouver Island right here, they've taken down. I believe this was a 4.2, a moderate 4.2 earthquake here. Over here on the east side of Vancouver Island, the east side of Vancouver Island, Saskatchewan, Canada, a 1.11 earthquake right there. The southern island, or southern part of the Vancouver Island. On the other side of the channel there, on the other side of the Strait of Juan de Fuca, Quilcene, Washington. This is a 1.66 earthquake here, a tremor. We've had numerous earthquakes here in Quilcene, Washington. Okay, then we go south near the coastline, Raymond, Washington. This is a 1.4 tremor here. You might ask why I'm spending time talking to you about earthquakes up here in Washington. There's a reason. The next earthquakes I'm going to show you are one is at the west side of Mount Rainier. This is a 0.16 microquake, just in the foothills west of Mount Rainier. I can guarantee you there's more seismic energy there than they're showing. They're not showing us everything that they need to be showing. And then the next place I'm going to show you is Mount St. Helens. Now folks, they are showing these tremors. There's all these tremors, but there's one minor earthquake here. There's 10 of these earthquakes. 10 earthquakes. Several of them are being shown as service quakes at the volcano. None of these are service quakes at the volcano, Mount St. Helens. See this area here? This is where Mount St. Helens blew out before, back in 1980. Completely blew out the northwest side of Mount St. Helens. Now, I'm going to show you each of the earthquakes here. There's a reason for it. Okay? This is a 0.2 supposed microquake. And I'm not saying there are no microquakes, because there are. But there's a lot bigger earthquakes than that. Right next to it is a minus 0.17. They're trying to tell us that this is above sea level. Minus numbers are above sea level. This is a minus 0.17. Well, folks, guess what? It's a lot deeper than that. It's not above sea level at all. This is 3.4 miles deep. 3.4 miles deep. This is not above sea level at all. Again, the USGS is lying through their teeth. They're absolutely lying through their teeth about that earthquake. Okay? Over to the west. Also on the edge of the crater. This is supposedly a minus 0.55. A minus 0.55. Again, supposedly above sea level. Let me show you this. This is 1 mile deep. 1 mile deep inside the volcano. They're lying through their teeth about those earthquakes. The next one is in the center, near the center of the crater. This is a 1.98 supposed tremor, 1.98, 2.0 minor earthquake. Let's look at this one too. This is actually 2.5 miles deep. 2.5 miles deep. Let's look at another here. Again, a minus 0.27. Supposed microquake. Minus numbers again mean above sea level. Interesting about this is 1.6 miles deep. 1.6 miles deep. Okay? Aubrey says that's significant. I agree. Heidi Petrick says it's irritating. She was alerted to only one quake at Washington State. And yet I'm showing you all these others. It's because they do not want to take responsibility for anything. Heaven forbid. Another earthquake supposedly that happened in the center of the crater. This is minus 0.9. Minus 0.9. Supposedly above sea level. This is a quarter of a mile deep. This is a quarter of a mile deep. Okay? Not above sea level. This is a minus 0.3. Also, it's not above sea level. This is a mile and a quarter below the volcano. 1.4 miles deep. Okay? It's not above sea level. The last earthquake is supposedly a minus 0.09. This is not above sea level either. This is 4.7 miles deep. 4.7 miles deep. And they would have us believe that it's not. They are absolutely lying through their teeth about how deep these earthquakes are. Heaven forbid they tell us the truth. Heaven forbid they tell us the truth. 2 more earthquakes. Both of these are southwest of Mount Hood. This is a 2.04 in Molalla, Oregon. 2.04 near Molalla, Oregon. This one just south and west of that is a 1.43, the exact same location. Near Molalla, Oregon. Okay? Interesting. Interesting. Another earthquake that happened in the Cascadia subduction zone to the south. This is a 2.58 earthquake. Earlier today, USGS said it was right there. Earlier today, USGS said it was right there, just west of the subduction zone. Now they moved it out here to the east side of the subduction zone. This is the Cascadia subduction zone running from Northern California all the way up to Queen Charlotte Island, British Columbia. Okay, the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake fault. Right here, this is over by Petrolia, California. Folks, this is a 2.77 minor earthquake here. Petrolia, California. Look where it's at. This is the triple junction where the San Andreas Fault comes up here, meets the triple junction here with the Cascadia subduction zone and the Gorda Escarpment running out into the Pacific. It's called the triple junction. Okay? Now, I want to show you something else. And this is purely for record keeping. Remember this week when USGS was only showing one earthquake at the Geysers facility in Sonoma County, California? Look here. 20 plus earthquakes here in the Geysers. Okay? This is the Clear Lake volcano right here. The reason we have earthquakes here in the Sonoma County area is because men have drilled into this volcano, into the upper magma chambers of this volcano, to obtain steam to power turbines to generate electricity here in the Geysers facility. To obtain steam to generate electricity here in the Geysers facility. Look at all these earthquakes here. This is normal. 25 to 35 earthquakes happen here all the time, every day. We have had as many as 55 earthquakes here in the Geysers. 55 earthquakes. Why? Let me show you something. I want to show you something that's very important so you understand what's actually happening. I want to show you this. Folks, this is where they obtain the steam. They've drilled holes into the ground over to the Clear Lake volcano. These are the drill points. These are just some of the drill points here in the Geyser's facility. Look at the pipes here. Look at all these pipes. The pipes take the steam from the drill points and transport that steam over to turbines, like this right here. These are all turbines here. They take the steam, run it through the facility over here to the turbines to generate electricity. There are 80 turbines throughout the Geyser's facility, all over the mountains here in Sonoma County, California. 80 different turbines here. This turbine facility is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Let me count that again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 turbines right here. There's a total of 80 turbines throughout the Geyser's facility. Okay, that's why. Aubrey's saying she was curious about the depth versus the current height. Now, Mulhere's Wrath is also saying, and it's true, when Mount St. Helens was erupted, when it erupted in 1980, it removed 1,300 feet from the top of that volcano. I don't remember the height of Mount St. Helens right now. But all of these earthquakes I showed you are deeper inside the volcano. The least deep was only 1/4 of a mile deep. All the rest were a mile or more deep, up to 7 miles deep. Incredible. Incredible. Well, nearest rest is well a mile is 5,287 feet. Okay? So some of these earthquakes are 4 miles, 5, 6, 7 miles deep. That is not above sea level. It's not above sea level. They may put minus numbers up, but they're lying through their teeth. They're absolutely lying through their teeth. But 80 different pumps and jacks, or not pumps and jacks, but 80 different turbines throughout this Geyser's facility. This is another one. This is another one. I studied this. Just outside the turbine facility here is another place where they dug into the volcano. Okay? I just want to show you that. Like I said, there's 80 turbines. I went through here about probably 7 or 8 months ago, and I found 80 turbines there. Catherine Sigerson says she's missed a lot. Catherine, the simple thing about EMA is you can go back and watch the entire program. And those of you that have just barely been here, I suggest you go back and watch the entire program from the beginning. Okay? It's incredible. Now over here on the west side of the San Francisco Bay, I want to show you this. This is Pacific, California. This is a 1.46 earthquake. 1.46 earthquake. Now what's interesting about this? What's interesting about this? This is right along the San Andreas Fault here. It's right along the San Andreas Fault here. Right here is the San Francisco Zoo. Frequently we have earthquakes right here just outside the San Francisco Zoo. This is Pacific in California. Now I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit more. I want you to see where this is. It's right along the coastline. There's a housing development, but there's also right here the golf course. This is the golf course. There's a golf course right up in here. This is one part of the golf course. This is the other part. I have actually golfed here at Pacifica. Interesting. Interesting. So that's what happened over on the west side of San Francisco Bay. On the northeast side of San Francisco Bay, Vallejo, California. This is a 1.93 tremor up here in Vallejo, California. Folks, this is right next to the Hayward Fault. Literally right next to the Hayward Fault. And folks, I want to show you this. This is 2.4 miles deep inside the fault. 2.4 miles deep inside the fault at Vallejo, California. Now, folks, I also have been to Vallejo, California before. I received a telephone call from a telemarketer today from Vallejo, California. When I answered, I identified myself and I asked them several times to come up on the line, and they didn't, and then they dropped the call. But I received a telephone call from Vallejo, California. Going south on the San Andreas Fault right here, Ridgemark, California. This is a 3.0 earthquake. A 2.99, 3.0 earthquake here at Ridgemark, California, also on the San Andreas Fault. Right next to it. And there were actually two earthquakes, a 1.82 tremor as well. Ridgemark, California. Right next to it, Tres Pinos. This is a 1.62 tremor here. Just south of there, this is San Miguel, a 1.05 right alongside the San Andreas. We've had numerous earthquakes there. Now, we go south, and I just love this. This is where we have a lot of earthquakes now. Southern California. Southern California. We have earthquakes going up here into Ridgecrest. Ridgecrest, Trona, California. Why did it do that? Ridgecrest, Trona, California right there. But look at all these earthquakes all over this area just west of there. Look at this. Just quickly. I'm not going to show you all the earthquakes, but I'm going to tell you about them. Fraser Park, at the west end of the Garlock Fault, alongside the San Andreas. The Garlock and the San Andreas are right there, together. Fraser Park, a 2.27 quake. Right next to it, Ojai, 0.89 tremor. Piru, California, Piru, California, 1.44. Valencia, a 1.41. El Segundo, guess what? El Segundo, 1.9. I want to show you where this is. There's an Air Force base here in El Segundo, California. There's an Air Force base there now. I trained some of the police there at El Segundo before I moved to Colorado. 1.9, 2.0 in El Segundo, California. East of there, Glendora, California, also right next to the San Andreas, a 0.89 microquake there. Continuing, all through the area, Moreno Valley, 0.97. Calamasa, California, 0.66. Banning, California, 1.15, again, the San Andreas Fault. Cabazon, a 0.71. All these are in the Anza Gap area, just north of Anza Borrego Desert. Okay, all of them. Moreno Valley, 0.97. Calamasa, 0.66. Banning, 1.75. Trabuco Canyon, Los Angeles, 1.15. Menifee, California, out in the desert area of Orange County out there, a 0.58. Anza, California, North San Diego, California, 0.87. La Mesa, California, San Diego. La Mesa is a suburb of San Diego County, in San Diego County. It's a 1.11 tremor there in La Mesa, California. I've been in La Mesa many, many times. Okay? Going over to the Elsinore Fault in San Diego, California. Over at the top of the Cuyamaca Mountains. They're called the Chocolate Mountains. 0.97. Borrego Springs, there's several earthquakes here. This is just one of many, a 1.03 tremor. They're happening. This whole area is still rumbling. It's still rumbling. All of the Imperial Valley here is rumbling, whether USGS wants to tell us about it or not. Minor tremors, microquakes, and full-blown earthquakes that they're not telling us about. 3.0 earthquakes over in El Centro today. About 15 3.0 earthquakes in El Centro. That's what's happening. Now, I talked a lot about earthquakes. I've talked a ton about earthquakes because all the earthquakes that have happened now, just like I said, down in the western part of the Pacific, they have happened now because of all the earthquakes we had last week. 4.5, 4.7 deep earthquakes. Those deep earthquakes propagated stronger, more shallow quakes. That's what happened. Now, Aubrey's asking mostly west of the fault line, why is that? Folks, west of the fault line. Folks, this is the Pacific Plate. The Pacific Plate. It's on the fault line at the Pacific Plate. The Pacific Plate is taking a deep dive underneath the North American Plate. A deep dive down into the center of the Earth. That's why. That's why. Now, I've talked a lot about earthquakes. Tonight, when it comes to preparedness, I wanted to answer your questions. I want to answer your preparedness questions or even talk about things that you want to talk about when it comes to preparedness. Sun Geyser says, and tells when the Astro at the time of the last ones, it covered over to preserve being cleared in Turkey. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Sun Geyser, but when we had the monster earthquake over in the Turkey-Syria border area, we had another large earthquake there today in the Turkey-Syria border area. It happened. Now, why are we still having earthquakes in the Turkey-Syria border area? It's plain and simple. It is plain and simple. Look what's going on here. Today, we had over 70 earthquakes here in the Turkey-Syria border area. 70. That is because we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here a year and 5 months ago. Possibly a year and 4.5 months ago, right here. A 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here. We're still having aftershocks. We are still having aftershocks right here. Why? Because of this major earthquake here. When we have major earthquakes, we're going to have aftershocks for years after that. And that's what we're seeing right here. Many, many aftershocks from that quake. A ton of them. Then over here in the area that links the Black Sea with the Mediterranean. Look at all these earthquakes here. These are in the Dokanese Island area. The Dokanese Islands, just on the west side of Turkey here, belong to Greece. All these islands here belong to Greece, and that's where we have a lot of earthquakes. Here it says 30 earthquakes here. I'm sorry, 20 plus earthquakes here. Look at all these earthquakes here. Okay? 1.6, 3.0, 1.4, 1.1. All these earthquakes here. Look at all those earthquakes. 3.0s, 1.1s, 2.5s, 2.4s, 2.6s, 1.9s. Look at all those earthquakes. That's a huge swarm of earthquakes. What happens again when we see huge swarms of earthquakes? Usually that means we're going to see a large earthquake. Usually when we see swarms like this, it means we're going to have a large earthquake. Okay? Crazy. Crazy. Well, here's Monier's Wrath says the necessary supplies shouldn't cost you more than like $100 at Walmart, really. It's true. True. You can find emergency preparedness supplies, including, and let me just tell you a little bit about emergency supplies at Walmart. You can buy a very good sleeping bag at Walmart for about $25 to $29. For another $20, $25, you can get yourself a nice cook stove, a 2-burner cook stove. Okay? You can buy gas cans for that cook stove for about $4 or $5 a piece. You can buy a cook kit for about $15. You can buy freeze-dried food for about $4 a piece. Freeze-dried food for $4 a piece per meal. Usually, and I'm being very serious here, I can turn one of those freeze-dried packages of freeze-dried meals into 2 meals very easily. There's a lot of food there. Okay? You can add to that emergency preparedness kit with clothes from your own closet. Make sure you also have good thick-soled shoes for an emergency preparedness kit or a go bag. Richard Smith says it depends on the Walmart. Right. But you can still get those emergency preparedness supplies for less than $100 at Walmart. Now, Demon Catman is talking about these broadcasts we've been doing here on Emergency Management Associates here on YouTube. Any one of these broadcasts on this channel that say Emergency Preparedness on give advice on emergency preparedness. Every one of these give broadcasts with preparedness on the title will give you some advice on preparedness. Always. Usually to the end of the broadcast we talk about preparedness. Sometimes the entire broadcast. Because of all the earthquakes that happened down in the South Pacific tonight and some of the other earthquakes around the globe, we got a little bit hijacked and told you about those earthquakes, but I think that was important. Demon Catman is asking, can we make Monier's Wrath a mod, please? I think that might be a good idea. Monier's Wrath, could you please send me an email with your telephone number, and if you're wanting to be a mod, please send me your telephone number so we can talk. I would love to make you a mod here. That would be great. Monier's Wrath says, yeah, I live in Arizona. We don't have problems like that. Well, guess what? You guys may soon have problems like that. San Francisco volcano in Arizona is moving. Magma is moving under that volcano, and it's likely that volcano could erupt sometime in the near future. So you may very well have a volcano erupt. There are several other volcanoes in Arizona, New Mexico, and California that could cause problems in Arizona. Dustin Caglick says he would like to be a mod as well. Please send me an email with your telephone number. Let's discuss it. I would like people that have been watching this broadcast and part of the chat for at least 6 months before I make you a mod. But I would certainly like to talk to you about being a mod. Okay? That would be great. Gail Chirac says, okay, I'll look there for preparedness information on our channel. We've been broadcasting here on YouTube for 5 years. About a year or so ago, YouTube took our channel down. We had 25,000 subscribers on that first channel. 25,000 subscribers. Some of those subscribers that were on the last channel are still finding us now on our channel now. Our channel nearly has 5,000 subscribers. We are so close to that, it's unreal. I would ask each of you if you would please get us to 5,000 plus subscribers before the end of this weekend. We can easily do that. I would love to have over 5,000 subscribers by Sunday night. That would be great. Demon Catman just put up our email address. It is still rltnspdema@gmail.com. The first three letters of my name is RLT. NSPD were the letters signifying my police department I used to work for. EMA is Emergency Management Associates here at gmail.com. That's why I named this rltnspdema@gmail.com. Okay? That is our email address. Okay? You can reach us there. You guys also, we talked about this at the beginning of my program. You can also reach us at our post office box. Our post office box location is 104 North Green Street. 104 North Green Street, box 105, Morganton, North Carolina. Zip code is 28655. That's our address where you can send us cards and letters. If you decide to send us a donation inside your cards of letter, make sure your letter is significantly wrapped around the donation so it cannot be seen from outside the envelope. Put your donation, if you're sending us a card, put your donation inside the card so nobody can see the donation either. We used to get 2 or 3 cards a week. As of late, we have not. I would love to get 2 or 3 cards a week again. I would love to hear how you're doing. I would love to hear about what you're doing to prepare. I'd like to hear how you and your family are making it. Okay? I would really like to know that. That way I could know some things that we need to touch on when it comes to emergency preparedness. Dustin Cagley just gave us another $5 super chat. Dustin, thank you so much. I'm giving you an EMA sticker here on your super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. God bless you for that. We need as many super chats and donations as we can get to keep this program on the air. Bonier's Ras says he screenshotted it and he'll send an email afterwards. Thanks, Bonier. I appreciate it. I really do. I thank all of you for being here. Do you have any other questions when it comes to preparedness? Bonier's Ras says, and don't skimp on medical emergency kits. Exactly. Don't skip on emergency medical supplies. IFAC, tourniquets, hit your CVS or drugstores. Okay? Walmart also has a significant amount of preparedness supplies, including bandages, tourniquets, and other things. Demon Canvas says, I noticed you changed your name without the letters. We still have the letters. rltnspdema@gmail.com. rltnspdema@gmail.com. Dustin says he appreciates me. I appreciate you as well. Yes, and Munir Ras is saying, thank you for the information about Flagstaff and San Francisco peaks. I was kind of thinking we've been noticing tremors. Oh yes, you guys have been seeing tremors, but nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Renee Stephanie says she would love to become a mod. Renee, give me a call tomorrow. Sometime maybe 11 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast, or in the afternoon tomorrow. I'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to you about being a mod. Jupiter is asking, what about a good survival book? Let me show you something. I've got all kinds of survival books. Look at all my survival books. Look at all my survival books up here as well. I have survival books up here. I have survival books up here. Right here. This is my emergency preparedness plan. That is my emergency preparedness plan. That's how I've written it. Right here. I am an emergency first aid certified person. I'm certified in wilderness first aid. And not just that. Look at this. I have an emergency response guide, 2012. It has not changed much since then. They put these guides out about every 3 to 4 years. Okay? I've got that emergency first aid guide. Not just that. I've got Bible trivia games that somebody sent me here. No, that has nothing to do with preparedness. I'm just showing you some of the things I've got here. But I've got preparedness information here. One of the best preparedness guides I have, it's called It's a Disaster and What Are You Going to Do About It? I have a handful of these books left. I'm offering these books for $19.99. These books are over 250 pages each. They cover emergency first aid. They cover all kinds of topics, including a tsunami, a volcano, a tornado, a thunderstorm, radiology, radiological event or explosion. What are you going to do then? Before or after a radiological event. Over here, it's talking about a chemical attack, chemical weapons. Over here again, chemical agents. Over here, a nuclear power plant emergency. Hurricanes, cyclones, and typhoons. Over here, it's talking about after flood or heavy rain. It talks about during a fire, before and after. It talks about all kinds of fires and extreme heat. This is a great book. I've got about 4 of these left. I'd be happy if any one of you sent me a $20 check or a $20 bill asking me for one of those books, and I will send one of those books to you. It's a great preparedness book. One of the best I've ever seen. Okay? One of the best books I've ever seen. I have one of my own, but I'm willing to part with some of these other books. It's a disaster. What are you going to do about it? No, I did not write that book. A friend of mine did many, many years ago, but it's an excellent book. Renee Sevi says she loves hers. Yes, it's an awesome book. I've got an Army field guide. I've got an Army emergency preparedness book. I've got all kinds of books. Again, I'm an emergency preparedness expert. They call me a subject matter expert. They call me a subject management expert. I have worked for the DOD. I have worked for JITEC. JITEC is an agency of the federal government that works with the National Guard during an emergency. I've done disaster drill work all over the United States with the National Guard. Small Town Cicero says, I don't read, for I only have one eye right in the middle of my forehead. Well, I've heard some people do. Richard Smith says, I will ask wife if I can get one of those books wrong. Well, ask your wife. I'd be happy to send you one of those books. Okay? Do you guys have any other questions? I kind of wanted to open it up tonight to answer questions about emergency preparedness because a lot of people have questions. And yes, it talks about solar flares. It talks about everything. The first book talks about events. The second part of the book talks about emergency first aid. It's a great book. It's a great book. Well, here's Raz says, but a photon travels much faster than 1.7 million kilometers a second. It's possible. I don't have all those physics numbers anymore. I'd have to go look at them. Aubrey's asking, is my California warning for a major earthquake still up? Folks, I have to keep it still up. I'm not talking about a major earthquake any longer, but about 3 weeks ago I put up a warning for a major quake. USGS is not talking about much of any kind of earthquakes at all in California, let alone Southern California. As I show you today, it's not on the USGS map. It's on the European map. USGS map is not showing many earthquakes in Southern California at all. I'm telling you guys, there are a lot of earthquakes in Southern California. Yes, I still believe we're going to have a major earthquake in Southern California. It's going to happen. I just don't know when. I wish I could tell you when. Richard Smith is still reporting a 4.9 5.0 earthquake in Taiwan. Not surprising. Taiwan is going to have many earthquakes. Taiwan had an 8.4 earthquake just about 2 months ago. Taiwan had an 8.4 earthquake off the northeast side of the island just about 4 weeks ago. They're going to continue to have those for a very long time, maybe years. Maybe years. SunGator says they have a solar lantern that doubles as a radio charger, and it's all solar and flashlight. Those are great. I also have one of those over here in my window, and the reason I keep it right in my window area is it has a chance to recharge because of the solar panels on the lantern itself. It's great. NCWQ Explorer just put our one of our PayPal addresses in here. We appreciate that. Okay, we have two PayPal addresses. One goes to Emergency Management Associates, EMARMGMTASSOC. Okay, PayPal at that address. One address is rltnspdema@hotmail.com. It's not to my Hotmail address. PayPal. PayPal.me, la da da. Okay? I have two PayPal addresses and a Cash App. Okay? Thank you for putting up that, Becky. Appreciate it. Also, friends and neighbors here, Becky would appreciate it if you go over her channel and give it some love. She won't be able to talk on her channel for another 2 weeks. She had some oral surgery and she has a broken jaw from the work that the dentist did. So she's not going to be able to talk for at least a couple weeks. After that, she will. Aubrey says she's going to call me on Monday about a donation. Thank you, Aubrey. I appreciate that. Monier's Ras says, same here. Solar energy affects him as well. I agree, it does me too. Solar flares hit us humans. Our bodies are 80% water. So that radiation will affect our bodies. Okay? It'll affect our bodies. That's very typical. Do you guys have any more questions for me? I'm sorry I missed yesterday coming on the air. I really did not feel well. I felt really sick. I was not throwing up or anything, but I was sicker than a frickin' dog. I felt like I was going to die. It wasn't just being overworked. It wasn't just headaches or anything else. It was big time. I just felt crappy. Okay. if you guys don't have any questions, I want to share a scripture with you. This scripture is very important to me. I mark all my scriptures in with a red pencil. Okay, I might mark all the scriptures that I feel have importance to me. I mark them lightly with a red pencil. This one is in the Acts of the Apostles, in the book of Acts, chapter 20. This is 28, 29, and 30. Starts off in verse 28. Take heed therefore unto yourselves and to all the flock, over which the Holy Ghost hath made you overseers to feed the church of God, which he hath purchased with his own blood. For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. Isn't that exactly what happened back at the time of Christ, and even is happening now? Verse 30 and 31. Also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things, to draw away disciples after them. Therefore watch and remember that by the space of 3 years I cease not to warn everyone night and day with tears. Warning night and day with tears. Folks, the apostles wrote that about their time, and they wrote that about us. This is exactly what's happening to us. Folks, if when you read the scriptures, put your own name in there. Put your own name in there. Take heed, therefore, Ron, unto yourselves and to all the flock. Take heed, therefore, Dean, unto yourselves and also to the flock. Take heed, Renee, therefore, unto yourselves and to all the flock. Put your name in there. Make it real for you, and you will understand the true meaning of that scripture. Make it real for you. The apostles and prophets wrote to us. Isaiah saw our day. Isaiah the prophet saw our day. Go back and read Isaiah. It's about us. It's everything about us. The scriptures apply to you and I. There's another scripture I want to share with you. I shared it with one of my friends over a messenger the other day. And I think I may have quoted it to you then. This is Romans. Paul wrote the Romans, and in Romans chapter 1, verse 16. For I, Ron, am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and to also the Greek. The scriptures apply to each one of us. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation for everyone that believeth. All of us. Brothers and sisters, I'm just a worker in the kingdom. I try to give you information every day that I come on the air, to try to help you survive what's going on. I try to give you wisdom and knowledge of what's going on. I try to teach you about preparedness, because we have to be prepared. We have to be situationally prepared, and we have to be physically and spiritually prepared. I teach you spiritual preparedness at the end of the programs. Now, unless something happens big tonight or tomorrow, I'm taking tomorrow off. Last week I came on because there was a lot of information to be shared of things going on. I try to take Saturdays off. On Sunday morning at about 12 noon, 12:30 Eastern Time, I come on the air with "Come Follow Me," the Savior said. It's a Sunday school class. I'm going to be on the air this coming Sunday between 12:30 time period, Eastern Time. I would love to see you all there on my Sunday school class. Last week we had over 800, nearly 900 viewers of our Sunday school class. I so appreciate that. That means the world to me, and I'm sure the Lord. The Lord appreciates us being together. The Lord appreciates us studying the gospel. I thank each and every one of you for being here with me. I appreciate your love, I appreciate your support, and I also appreciate you sharing information with each other. I would love to know that each one of you are talking to each other. Not just here in the chat, but talking with each other, learning where you live, where you can also grow together and help each other. I would love that. I would love to know that each one of you are helping each other, because that's exactly what we should be doing, helping each other grow and help each other become prepared. I love you. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you being part of my family. Heidi Petrick, I don't know whether I saw you earlier, but I appreciate your PayPal donation you gave us. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys mean the world to me. I appreciate your super chat donations. I also appreciate you joining our membership. I would love to have each one of you in our membership. The more members we have on this channel, the better, because we can better stick together. And I will be having membership-only meetings at least once a week, starting this coming Wednesday or Thursday. Sun Geyser says she has random nauseousness, possibly because of solar flares. That's what happens. Monier's Rat says he's not really a church person, but I like listening to Ron. I just can't be in a building. I have to be outside, which really works when I listen to him. Thank you so much, Monier. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless each one of you. May God bless us, we may come together, that we may truly understand God's words. I really want us to do that. In doing that, we can still come together and we can prepare to be together for eternity. Renee Seppi says she has a funeral to attend tomorrow. I'm so sorry you lost a family member or friend. God bless you, Renee. God bless you. May His Spirit guide and direct you and lift you up. And lift the family members up as well. God bless each one of you. We appreciate all of you. Catherine says she has a job interview tomorrow. Catherine, good luck. I love you guys. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. God bless.